How's it going? Hope you guys are all doing well. I know it's been a little while since you guys have last seen me in a video, but I hope you guys are doing okay. Really, one of the reasons why you guys haven't seen me in a little bit is just because, you guys, the market has been just, extremely boring. I have, of course, been still paying attention to the market. I still have, money and stuff allocated into the market, but, lately the content, there's not that much there to give you guys. And as I've always said, I only want to get on here if I feel like I have, something to, some information to give you guys. One piece of information that I wanted to go over that this video is going to talk about is, okay, what are, one thing that you can do right now during the slowness of the market is really, research and go over, make a list and make sure you have, if you are allocated outside of Bitcoin and you're in other plays, L1s, AI plays, make a list of some of those cryptos, whether you're using something like CoinMarketCap, the Coin Perspective, whatever you're using to kind of track cryptos, CoinGecko, make a list and, track and, just so you can see the everyday price action of certain cryptos. As you can see here, for instance, I have Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Sui, Pepe, Ondo, Tau, Render, Caspa, XBX 6900, GigaChad, and I do have some other cryptos. Now, not all of these am I invested in, but these are this is kind of like a simplified list of, if I'm not making any more changes to a portfolio, what cryptos do I think, can give me, a good return? Of course, crypto is risky, anything can happen, but, it's important to utilize, guys, it's really important during this time of sideways chop in the market to really solidify your portfolio. I've had to get rid of many cryptos that, I previously thought I had conviction in and realize, what, I really want to just get down to the main players, get down to the main L1 plays, whether it's like a Sui, get down to, or if you're getting something like a Caspa, get down to the real world asset plays like an Ondo, get down to the, the simple AI plays or depend like a Render, and then an AI play like Tau. This is the time, guys, because if we still have another leg to this market, which, I do believe we will, again, none of it's financial advice, that this is when I think we're, a lot of you are going to end up, breaking even, and then if not, being in the surplus of your gains. Now, if we look at this chart from Bitcoin, this is getting into the main point of this video. So hang in there, guys. Promise you, I think this is a really informative video. Over here to the left, back in 2021, we saw two peaks. We saw an initial peak around 64,000 for Bitcoin's price, and then we saw another peak around 69,000. This all happened in, I believe, from peak to peak was about 5 months or so, from April to November. So what I'm thinking here, 5-6 months, give or take, not 100% exact. And as you can see, there's some lines here, but ignore those lines. Those are actually not supposed to be there. Let me take them off. So right now, what I'm thinking is we have our first peak that actually, we saw initial one, I believe it was around January or December of 2024, late December 2024. And then we saw another one just very recent in January of 2025. So this peak right here, guys, if we are taking somewhat of a similar route as last cycle, as we know, this cycle is different. Everything with, the Fed and the quantitative easing, the tightening, the soft landing, the lowering of interest rates, the timing of it is different from last run as it is this run. So right now we are obviously waiting on the liquidity, like the M2 money supply, and we've seen uptakes in that, and we're hoping that ends up flooding into risk on assets risk on assets and into the market, into crypto. So if we see another peak, I'm thinking, now hang in there with me. This is getting to the main part of this video. If you guys look at look at this blue line. I, like many other people, YouTubers, originally thought that the cycle was going to follow, like, again, a two-peak thing, early April, May, and then again towards, November, December of this year. Now, that didn't happen. So this blue line is what was projected to happen, and it didn't happen. The orange line, these orange arcs, specifically this one, is what actually happened. We did form at least a first temporary local high, a local peak, earlier, a couple months earlier to be exact. Last cycle, again, let's just go back to the chart. We formed our first peak, looks around April 12th of 2021 at the 64,000. This time around, 4 years later, we thought that was going to happen again. But according to the chart, we actually formed our first peak around around December 16th, 2024, and then not much later we actually double tested that, high, and we put in a newer high, a higher high, around January 20th of this year of 2025. So if we're kind of counting that January 20th of 2025, that shows you that we hit our initial peak earlier. Just like when it comes to the Bitcoin halvings, normally we don't put in, you remember the narrative was like, hey, we won't put in a new all-time high until after the Bitcoin halving. But for this cycle, we hit it earlier. So a pattern I'm starting to see, and I know you guys have heard, people, other crypto YouTubers maybe talking about this, but I'm just kind of speculating it, kind of giving my twist on it. Things that happened in the last cycle that are happening this cycle. For this cycle, they're happening earlier than normal. So if this cycle plays out like last cycle, instead of us, I'm going to go back to this visual over here. Instead of us having that typical peak in Q4 of 2025, I think that we could actually see a peak potentially. Now, again, a lot of this is going to be dependent on the macroeconomic structure, what happens with Donald Trump and the tariffs, the economy, the M2 global supply, what the rates, what happens with that, what Jerome Powell says and does at these FOMC meetings. But if the market goes risk on and we get the liquidity that we think is coming, I actually think that we could end up peaking earlier if we do have a double top, earlier by a couple of months than expected, because this cycle, at least as of now, I feel like evidence is suggesting we are left leaning. We are not right leaning like the normal cycles. We're left leaning. So I think we're going to see a potential peak of this market of Bitcoin and your favorite altcoins in July or August of this year. And that's interesting because usually the summer months, especially May, are very, very bearish. But If there's anything that this cycle has taught me, is expect the unexpected. We didn't expect to hit all-time highs before the halving. We didn't expect to peak out into have a first peak so early. A lot of people were expecting to take profits around this time, April, May. But in reality, there wasn't anything to take profits from because everyone's down 40, 50, 60 plus percent because it went against what we expected. So, again, this is speculation. Nothing I say is financial advice. Definitely do your own research on this. But just, I would say, keep an open mind and thinking that, hey, if Bitcoin does rally again, if we, let me go back to the Bitcoin chart. If Bitcoin does rally here again, you know, and I'm one of those people, you know, I think one day Bitcoin's going to go to, 25, 250,000, $500,000, $1 million down the road. Yes. But I think that's years away. You have YouTubers, you have people talking about on X that it's going to go to those numbers, 250,000 this cycle. I don't see it. Despite all the bullishness, I don't see it. I do see something very similar like this happening. We hit around 64, the first peak, back in 2021, and many months later that same year, we peaked out a little bit higher. And I think the same thing could happen. We hit around 109, almost 110. Maybe we end up peaking, 115,000 for Bitcoin. And then if Bitcoin puts in those new all-time highs, you best believe that altcoins will more than likely run really, really hard. So this is a very, I'm aware of that this video is an optimistic standpoint on the market. I, like many of you guys, do hope that this bull run is not over. I am optimistic that it will keep going. I'm, just thinking that, a lot of what we were expecting, this altcoin season, it's just been delayed. And a lot of that it's because of the macro of what's going on in the economy in the world, everything with the tariffs and many other things going on in other countries. So keep an open mind. Of course, always do your research. Anything can happen in crypto. Bitcoin, 110 could have been the top, and maybe we could end up bleeding and going into a bear market. But I'm optimistic to think that Bitcoin will see another run up, and as long as Bitcoin can maintain support above its previous all-time high, as long as we, don't see it go past like 74 and retest the old all-time high back in 2021, as long as it, maintains this level, I'm still bullish on this cycle. And I'm still gonna hold my my crypto, my altcoins, and end up taking profit later down the road. But yeah, guys, that is my thoughts for this video. So yeah, guys, let me know what you guys think. There was another part of this video that I was gonna go over. I was gonna go over like previous price action with other cryptos and comparing it to the other cycles, but I'll do that in a separate video because I don't want this video to be super long. So stay tuned for that. So the next video that you will see coming out here is going to be looking at, okay, what happened this point for the next peak for certain cryptos? What type of price action return did we see leading up to the next peak of where Bitcoin finally topped out? That's what's going to be coming in the next video. But guys, let me know in the comments what you guys think. Do you guys think that something like this is going to play out? Do you think that, hey, instead of peaking in October, November, December of 2025, hey, we actually could end up peaking earlier, just like we hit a peak earlier a couple months ago? Because this is, guys, again, clearly, let's go back to the Bitcoin chart. Clearly, this is a significant structure in the Bitcoin chart. This looks over here, 2021, 2025, very similar structure. And it chopped and it recovered and it slowly went on to put a new all-time high. Look what's happening again. It's looking like it's chopping and it could break out to put in another all-time high. I'm just connecting the dots here. Nothing is going to be completely mirroring of last cycle. As we've seen, things are different. But I'm willing to bet that we will see another high for Bitcoin, arguably a higher high and not a lower higher high, and not something that's under the old, instead of like Bitcoin getting to 105K, I think we will see like 115K or 120, and then we will see a bear market in 2026 will be the depths in the bottom of the bear market. But right now would just make no sense unless the macro got absolutely terrible. But yeah, guys, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think, and I will catch you guys in the next video.